Welcome to the Hagmann Report. It is Tuesday, the 21st day of January, 2026. I'm Doug Hagmann, Hagmann Report, HagmannPI.com. That's our home base there. All of the programs are assembled. Obviously, we are on Rumble, live on X. Please join us there. Thanks for your belief, your trust in this platform. And I have a lot to get into tonight. With me is on deck is Randy Taylor. But before I get into Randy Taylor, I'd like to start. By the way, I want to acknowledge to the mods and the people who do join us live in the chat. Thank you so much. The mods, you know what, it's a thankless job, and thank you, though. I'm thanking you. You know, it's difficult. And that's, I'm going to start off with the first segment about belief and about perception and about how we are really gamed in a big way. And you're going to see this. One announcement before we go any further. On Thursday, Steve will not be joining me on Thursday. Just to clarify that, for those people joining me now, he won't be here on Thursday. He's not feeling too well, and I'll tell you why. Yeah, every year he gets that respiratory stuff, and so just keep him in your prayers, and hopefully he's okay with me saying that. He's under the weather, so you know what? I mean, that's what it is. It is. He sounded horrible today when I talked to him. My goodness, but it is what it is. And you know, it's interesting too because, you know, I don't know how many people have smelled the smoke from the wildfires, from the fires in Canada. My goodness, it's very interesting up there. You know, when you look at the origins of the smoke and fires, and you look at the damn near straight line of fires, you just have to ask yourself, what the hell's going on? What's going on? And the smoke down here, it has a very acidic look. I've smelled forest fire smoke from forest fires before. We all have, right? At some point, and it's not uncommon. It's not. It doesn't have to be a conspiracy every time, except when it is, or when it could be. And again, it's all about perception. It's all about what you would expect, perhaps, versus what is real. And that's what I kind of want to start out this show with. You know, I'm a big believer, folks, in how we are all subjected to behavioral modification. And I also wanted to say that it's very interesting because within the past week, I had to create and then file an affidavit for the probable cause for a search warrant to be executed, which I did, and it was executed and successfully, and no problems. But the fact that I'm not a sworn law enforcement officer, well, you know, I cannot submit that, so I had to give that to a sworn law enforcement officer who gave that, of course, ran it through the process. And it's interesting because the reason I bring this up isn't because yay me. It's because of how things are presented. Okay, it is extremely important. Now, you could do a pretty crappy job and not get the desired outcome. You could do a really great job, get the desired outcome, or you can do a really great job and not get the desired outcome for some other reason. We're seeing this happen in just to go a little bit ethereal. I don't know. To go a little bit out there, I want to show you something. Okay, now, everyone knows, and this is a matter of huge contention, the Charlie Kirk assassination, and of course the preliminary hearing, okay, in Utah. All right, so y'all know about that, right, chat? You guys all know about that. I find it really interesting watching hours and hours. Well, watching the whole thing that was broadcast, okay? And then the commentary. And this is, again, the learning part. I think this is something I'm going to just leave with you, because I think this is so important as a foundation. for really everything. Now, I don't know how many people in the chat, and you don't have to answer this, but I'm speaking to the chat. If I happen to see, yes or no, yes or no, that's fine. But how many people in the chat have gone to, maybe have seen either a hypnotist or a mentalist show in Vegas or perhaps Reno or someplace, LA, or anywhere, have seen a mentalist production show? It's almost like they can read your mind, right? Well, that's part of behavioral programming and behavioral modification. If they can read your mind, or if they can make you believe they can read your mind, I should say, then they certainly can make you believe in certain things. Now, here's where it applies to everything we're seeing today. What caught my attention today, or recently, I should say, after watching the preliminary hearing for the Charlie Kirk trial, and very carefully, extremely carefully. Now, I've got numerous questions, a lot of questions. Okay, I do. But when there were two interviews specifically that caught my attention, and I'm so glad this behavioral analyst had looked at these two interviews, one of Benny Johnson and the second one of Jack Posobiec. Now, I know Jack. I've talked to him. We shared a lot together. I mean, look, I know Jack. I don't know Benny, but I know Jack. And I've spent enough time with him to watch his body language. All right. No, never. Okay. Thank you for all of that. Thank you for the response on that. I want to show you this, because this not only applies to, this applies to everything. Now, this younger man, I was going to say young man, he's not a young man. He's a younger man. He is he's a behavioral specialist, behavioral analyst. I've seen his work. Now, I have received certification from certain people I do play here on the show. He's not one of them. In fact, I don't even know if he has classes, but a lot of the people that I have taken courses and classes from have taught at the FBI and other agencies and such. This gentleman here is just very, very renowned for his mentalist acts. I want you to take a look at this. And this is in the context now. He did about I think it was about a 40-minute video on the behavioral cues of Benny Johnson and Jack Posobiec, and the narration of what they saw during the preliminary hearing. Specifically, the video or plural videos shown during the preliminary hearing. And this speaks folks, I'll put the link in the program description box, because this is so important. Because again, this to me, if you understand it, if we all understand what's going on here, we can gain so much. We can go be so much further ahead than everyone else. Okay, please. So here's a card trick. Now follow along at home. I know how this card trick was actually taught. I took my goodness, years ago in one of the courses I took, and it wasn't taught how to do it. It was shown. I shouldn't say taught. It was shown, but it was shown in the same context that he is showing it here. But watch this. Just watch this, okay, and see. I want you to follow along with him. Do what he asks in your mind. Do what he asks. And we're going to stop it. Okay, right at I'll say stop, Eric the Tech. So you have to be on top. But watch what happens, but I want you to follow along. And then in the chat, those people who are in the chat, let me know if he got it right. Okay? And then let me know if you know how he did it. But don't tell anyone. All right, so let's go to 32 minutes. This is cut 4. Watch the entire video because there's so much to this video about the Robinson preliminary hearing. Oh, there's just so much there, and about the reaction, and about how everything's being portrayed, and about skepticism, and about just a litany of things. Oh, he's a skeptic on certain things, but there's a lot here. But watch this first, play along, and let me know. Just let me know if he got it right. So go ahead, Eric the Tech, start this. It's about 32 minutes in.
Explain what's going on here. I'm going to show you a classic piece of mentalism where I'm going to try to read your mind through the screen. And to do this, I'm going to show you 5 playing cards, and I want you to just think of any one of them and lock it in your mind. But not just the number and color, I want you to think of the suit as well. Clubs, hearts, spades, or diamonds. Ready? Here we go. 5 cards. I want you to just think of any one of them and lock it in your mind. Awesome. Now I'm going to keep these in screen so that you can't accuse me of doing anything suspicious. And I'm going to give them a mix like this. And I'm going to ask you to focus on your card while I try to figure out which one it is. I believe it's this one. I'm going to get rid of it and set it down over there. Now, if I did this right, I should have gotten rid of your card, which means it's no longer there. Let me know in the comments if I got it right and if your card is the one that I correctly removed.
Stop. So, chat, did he get it right? No, you're okay. You're an outlier. Chat, did he get it right? I guess I'm about 10 seconds in on that. Yeah, you better do that. You better do that again on your own time there, Randy Taylor. It's 100%. He's going to. There's no way he can get it wrong. Absolutely no way. I guarantee flipping to you, if you're honest with yourself, or if you could see the screen and were able to discern the cards, and you did select one, I guarantee you he got it right. 100%. He cannot not get it right. Now, do you know how he did that? Okay. You can watch the video to see how he did that. But here is the issue behind all of this. Here's why I want to play this before anything else to lay the foundation for this. Eric the Tech, if you still have that queued up, go ahead and continue that. Or you know what? If you go back to 32, we'll play, or let that play out. Folks, pay very close attention. We're going to pause it after, or we're going to let it play through a little longer, and then we're going to pause it because I do have 1 sentence or 2 sentences to say after this. But if you watch really close, you're going to see exactly how it's done. I'm going to give you a hint. Pay attention to the first set of cards. Pay attention to the second set of cards. Okay? Start at 32.
Here, I'm going to show you a classic piece of mentalism where I'm going to try to read your mind through the screen. And to do this, I'm going to show you 5 playing cards, and I want you to just think of any one of them and lock it in your mind. But not just the number and color, I want you to think of the suit as well. Clubs, hearts, spades, or diamonds. Ready? Here we go. 5 cards. I want you to just think of any one of them and lock it in your mind. Awesome. Now I'm going to keep these in screen so that you can't accuse me of doing anything suspicious. And I'm going to give them a mix like this. And I'm going to ask you to focus on your card while I try to figure out which one it is. I believe it's this one. I'm going to get rid of it and set it down over there. Now, if I did this right, I should have gotten rid of your card, which means it's no longer there. Let me know in the comments if I got it right and if your card is the one that I correctly removed. Okay, so that's a classic.
All right. Randy Taylor gave you a chance number 2. Did he get it right?
I picked 6 R's.
Okay, I was okay. Well, here's the bottom line.
I even wrote it down.
Okay, I was the 6 of hearts in the first thing.
Yep, it was the first and foremost card.
Okay, did he get it right then?
It was still in his hand.
No, I mean, okay, so he mixed the cards up. He put that card down. I'm not going to go through this. Okay, but bottom line is, go ahead and play it from where he stopped. And
Go ahead, play it.
yeah.
It in your mind. Awesome. Now I'm going to keep these in screen so that you can't accuse me of doing anything suspicious. And I'm going to give them a mix like this. And I'm going to ask you to focus on your card while I try to figure out which one it is. I believe it's this one. I'm going to get rid of it and set it down over there. Now, if I did this right, I should have gotten rid of your card, which means it's no longer there. Let me know in the comments if I got it right and if your card is the one that I correctly removed. Okay, so that's
okay,
a classic
but pause it right there just for a second. Keep that up. Pause it. Okay, here now from this point forward, I want you to think of the word evidence. Okay, folks, evidence. Follow along with me. Keep the word evidence in the back of your mind and go ahead and let it play.
In live shows, on television, and it's not really friendly for a video like this where you could go back and watch it again, and if you do that enough times, you're going to realize something. The answer is right there in front of you. It's not that hard to figure out when you go back and watch it again and again, but the point is this. The way this works is the same way pretty much every mentalism and magic trick works, and it's the fact that we suggest something by building a world around it, and then you assume that this thing happened when it didn't. We just suggested it through other means. So when I removed your card and I put it aside, I never showed it to you. But because I removed one card and then I showed you the other cards and your card wasn't there, your mind makes a massive assumption, which is, he must have removed my card, because it's no longer in the ones that are in his hand. But I never showed you your specific card. I never showed you the exact evidence. I showed you these other things over here that in your mind you looked at and helped you build an image that that other one must have been your card. And that is exactly what's happening in this case. Because of their conviction, because of the things that they're saying that they saw in detail around that moment, because of the way that they're building up to that moment and coming off of that moment, they're building this whole world where a lot of people listening to this are making the assumption that there was a clear moment that this shot was taken, and you see clear 4K footage of Tyler Robinson taking that shot. Whereas if we really pay attention to those details, if we really ask to see that specific card that was put away, or that specific moment of the shot, what ends up happening is we realize this is the exact same exhibit that they talked about on day one. It's the exact same footage from day two, just with those zoom-ins that make it more clear. And when they're talking about the 4K HD footage, they're talking about the other stuff that we saw before, and Benny is saying it didn't look very clear to you guys at home because the camera was zooming in on a TV screen, but to us, those moments were very clear. And when it comes to the moment the shot was taken, there's never a point where someone is flat out saying, we see Tyler's face taking that shot. Before we talk about how damning this evidence actually is.
You cut it right there. So now that obviously is in the folks. I would recommend you subscribing to that channel, and certainly watching that video as well as the one before that. He's a very talented man, by the way, but he's also extremely intelligent. And he said a word, and that is evidence. And then he described the process, setting you up, telling you a story. Okay, in other words, there's this expectation. He's setting you up for this expectation. And he's delivering on what he sets up. But he's telling you what to expect. In the context of the Tyler Robinson preliminary hearing, if you listened to Benny Johnson, if you listen to Jack Posobiec, and again, I have nothing against Benny Johnson, and you know Jack is a friend of mine. I have nothing against him. The idea here, in that context, is that what they saw was Robinson taking the shot. Now, they did not exactly say that, but that is the perception. It has to be. Well, it doesn't have to be. Now, this gentleman goes on to talk about the text messages a little bit, and that is far far more compelling, I would add. So that's why you've got to, the link will be at hagmannpa.com. That's why you got to follow this. But here's the takeaway, and here's why I wanted to show you that. You know, I mentioned having to draft up a affidavit for probable cause for a search warrant, which again, I'm not a cop, I'm not sworn law enforcement, right? But I do play one on now. I was just assisting in a private capacity for a specific case, and I had to cite evidence. So from that card trick, if you asked to see the evidence, what would you expect to see? In other words, if you were going for the best evidence, you were standing, let's say, right in front of that gentleman with the cards. His nickname is, or stage name is Spidey, okay? I don't like that, but that's okay. So if you're standing right in front of Spidey, and maybe somebody next to you or somebody behind you, or maybe you just said, I've got to see the evidence. What's the evidence? What's the best evidence? Folks in the chat, best evidence. What is it? What do you think? What would you go for? You can't, don't say the cards. Be very specific. Yeah, I'm 10 seconds behind it. Narty, if you think about it, out of all that.
Circumstantial.
No, what's the best evidence? If you were to say, I want to see the best evidence, and I'm going to look at the best evidence, what would you reach for? I don't mean to put you on the spot. I'll tell you what, I'll just tell you. You would reach for what? The card that he put down. Your card, right? Your card. That's the one you put down. Or that's the best evidence. Actually, the best evidence would be all the cards. Ultimately, all the cards. But you get the idea. Because the cards were changed. He was, through sleight of hand, he was able to change the first set of cards with a second set of cards, all different. And of course, that would absolutely cause your perception or you to believe he selected your card.
It's my vision that's off then.
Yeah, I'm sure. Look, I had a hard time just now.
I thought I saw 6, 7, 8 of hearts in his hand originally. That's why I said 6 of hearts, and then later on it looked like 6 of hearts. So
yeah, no, believe me, the various sizes of the preview. If you watch that, not through this platform, but watch it on.
Apologies to the audience. I don't see worth a damn.
Well, yeah, believe me, I can barely see the preview monitor ahead up there, so I get it. But and a lot of people are mentally challenged because they're listening or just simply on a phone or whatever. But here's the bottom line. And this is what I'm going to end with on this, because I think this is so extremely important. We're all faced with stories. We're all faced with accounts. We're all faced with news. We're all faced with certain sets of circumstances, right? And we are essentially groomed. That's not really the word I'm looking for, but we are told what to believe, or we are set up to believe a certain narrative.
You are programmed.
Yes, programmed. But you know what, though? Here's the problem. Rarely do we get to see the evidence. And that, my friends, is the problem, because that would destroy a lot of narratives. It would destroy a lot of stories. It would destroy a lot of beliefs. It would destroy that confirmation bias that is so deeply ingrained in all of us. And yeah, me too. Whew. But I suspect that many people who are so ideologically driven and unbending, unyielding, might say, wait a second. Let me rethink this. At least if you're honest with yourself. That could apply to anything. In this case, it was the preliminary hearing on Tyler Robinson. That's not what this show is about. But that, to me, was the foundation for the rest of the show. Randy Taylor, RT. We are surrounded with wolves. Come on board.
Yep. Hello, everybody. Good to see you.
And look, folks, I would appreciate it. Tonight's episode is not about the Kirk assassination, okay? And I don't really want, please, I don't want any arguments over this. I don't want any arguments. Period. We can discuss, we can intellectually disagree, we can talk, but I showed that for a specific reason, RT, and that was so people would would take a step back and say, wait a second, this is what we're being shown. This is what we're being told. Is that what's really true? Now,
well, that applies in everyday life.
Everybody,
they get the headlines. They don't dig into the story. Well, I can throw you a headline. I can dictate to you through a headline, because if I know that you're not going to check the rest of the story, I mean, you see this on social media. You see this on mainstream media. They just give you the headline and the minimal amount of information, but they try and make your mind up for you.
The mainstream media is the worst because somebody had started a fire at the ICE in Manhattan. Okay, and the headline read, "Fireworks go off," or "Fireworks in New York." It was a ridiculous, misleading headline.
Mm-hmm. And they do it all. They do it all the time.
Right.
All the time. Just change a few words, and it really changes the course of the story. We are, as a nation and as a world, I feel we're like a gigantic MK Ultra experiment.
Oh, 100%.
And they just keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it. And it is so hard to prove that we're under that. It's hard. It's hard to prove it.
I think it's difficult to
great minds have created this deception.
Right.
But this one a couple of drunk guys down at the bar came up with this idea. There's some really, really intelligent people came up with the weapons they're using on us.
I think the difficulty is not in disproving the narrative or proving that the skeptics are correct in certain aspects. I think the difficulty is getting people to listen, or getting people to the table for discussion. That's where I think the problem is. A big problem. I mean,
Doug, it's like when they interview these kids on the street that are out there dressed wildly and they're trans or whatever, and they're Donald Trump's a fascist. Donald Trump's a fascist, and they say, the guy will ask him, "Okay, what is a fascist?" And they can't answer the question. They don't even know what they're out there doing. It's just somebody told them to go out and protest. That's what we're dealing with today. Mindless idiots, as far as I'm concerned. And there's no shortage of them. There's droves of them. And they listen to what somebody had told them. And then another person said, "We're going to march down here. Well, we're against fascism." They don't even know what they're marching against. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and those that do have a problem.
But their vote counts.
Exactly. I have to share this with people because I do have a guilty pleasure. I don't even know if it's really not a guilty pleasure. Okay, because I've been immersed in investigative work and investigations my entire adult life. I watched. Is anyone here watch The Interview Room, folks? Chris McDonough and Karen McDonough. It's on YouTube, and I watched them, and Dr. Gary Bricado, who wrote The New Evil, appears often as a guest, and some others. The reason I bring that up is because he appeared on as a guest on The Lab, okay? But these are all, shall we say, true crime type podcasters, the upper crust podcasters. Not Nancy Grace. Good Lord. Oh, jeez. I'll tell you what, I'd never appear with her ever. But that's just me. But anyway, I really have a deep appreciation for people like Chris McDonough, who is 30 some years in homicide in Ocean City, California. Ocean City? Anyway, south of LA. And his wife is an investigative journalist, and others who appear very, very top of the line law enforcement. And there was a discussion, the last program on the lab, which he was a guest on, talking about the root of the problem. The root of the problem is the change of morality, but at the heart of it is spiritual, the spiritual decay. So, RT, and I'm going to just turn this over to you, but the reason I brought that up is I thought it was just a fascinating discussion on the lab. That was the lab was the YouTube platform, but McDonough is the host of the interview room. But anyway, McDonough was talking about his experiences from the 80s through today as a law enforcement officer, as a detective. Wow, on point. And how things have changed dramatically. But why? And it was the first time I heard him say, look, you vote people in like Keith Ellison. He mentioned him by name. Bad cop, horrific cop, crooked cop. And then they started talking about not just the morality, but the spirituality. And ultimately what I derived from that was how we are all driven, or we are all subjected to this delusion, spirit of, if we're not grounded in the truth of the word. And the last thing I'm going to say, and I'll turn it over to you, Orte, is this. It was also talking about the Islamification of America, which we're going to be talking about tonight. But here's the issue. You could be so damn deluded, you don't even know you're deluded. And that's a spiritual decay. That's a spiritual problem. That's a spiritual blindness, or blindness caused by the lack of godly spirituality, in my view anyway. So all of this ties together. It's just, and there's a discussion about the criminals being released from prison. In fact, the host of the lab, Josh Diaz's father, killed his mother when he was very little. Of course, now his father's getting paroled. I can relate to all this. From an investigative viewpoint, inside the tape and outside of the tape, I can relate to all of this. As an investigator and as a victim witness, I've been there on both sides. But when you look at this, and by the way, they're 100%, they're class act people, in my view. Class act, great. I'd recommend them in a heartbeat. But here's the thing, and then again, I'm going to turn it over to Orte. The very bottom line in all this is we're talking to people who, A, are blinded spiritually and therefore blinded practically, B, just downright friggin' evil, or C, so blind by their own biases, they're so ideologically driven and so damn wrong, they refuse to look at the evidence. There's no talking with them. So here we are. We've got, last November, we elected 42. This country elected 42 Muslims into office last year. 42. And guess what? It's going to get worse. They're wolves inside our country. Democratic Socialists of America. Wolves.
They're a problem. They're a real problem, Doug.
To you, sir. I mean, you.
The Democratic Socialists of America are an absolute problem, and they're going to try and spearhead these midterms. And they're going to come back really, really, really hard in the 2028 election. The bad part is, I don't even know how you get rid of these people. The part that troubles me as a veteran is these are the exact people that we were trained to kill in the army, in the military. Now they're going to be on your ballot. I got a real problem with that. They shouldn't even be allowed to have a party in the United States that is pro-communism. If you have socialist and communist an agenda like that, or Muslim, let's lump these all together, okay? You shouldn't even be allowed to run, in my humble opinion. And then these people that are in these offices that we've already let in, this is a huge mistake. I wrote a report the other day about an entire town in Illinois that's been taken over by Muslims.
We got them in Texas. We got them in many states. Yeah, you're right.
I'm just trying to imagine coming out the front door of my house and hearing Muslim call to prayer going on some speakers out loud. I would flip. And I don't understand how patriots allow this in their towns. I mean, it gets dark in your town. Utilize that. And you know what? Eventually, they're going to come for your life. Maybe not today, because they're still trying to win you over. But once they have control and they don't really need your vote anymore, or what you say does not matter at that point, then you're in serious jeopardy. Our country's in serious jeopardy, and we're this far away from losing this. Every time we allow this to occur and we let another one of these Muslim shitheads get in office, all right, we might as well just go into Arlington Cemetery and spit on the gravestones.
Yep.
Because that's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. Don't give me the excuses.
From the shores of Tripoli.
I am tired of the excuses of why you allowed this to happen. I don't care. You got a job, you got a family. I don't care. Because all of these things that you use as an excuse, everything you're using as an excuse, you're going to lose when they gain power. And I want you to stop and think about that. If you don't believe me, write it down. Write down what's really valuable to you. Okay? Now, it's 10 years later and the communists are in power. And I want you to look at that list of things that mean something to you. So things that are near and dear to you. Look at that list and you tell me what ones you think you're going to have under a communist regime. Because you're not going to have any of them. That's the problem with Americans. They've had it too good for too long. And you don't understand what's out there. Veterans, we understand what's out there.
Well, I think
people like Doug,
yeah,
people that dig and people that don't accept what's on, they understand what's out there. When I say out there, I'm talking about communist countries. There's so many Americans can't tell you the difference between our country and a communist country. And that's a fact. And that's, I'm sorry, you're setting us up for defeat. You're setting us up. Not just your children, my children.
Oh, yeah. Our grandchildren. Look, it's not good.
Yeah, I don't understand how this is being allowed to happen, especially in Texas. I mean, it's Texas. Are you kidding me?
There's an answer to that. And I think after researching this, I think I was able to pinpoint certain important facts. Okay, so we've got two other videos, but I want to start at the end of video one. Okay, and I think what we need to do is we need to make sure we're all in agreement with a couple of core issues. Okay. On cut one, Eric the Tech, if you can start, I didn't write it down, but from memory, I think it's 5:35 in, you can start at cut one. If not, well, you might have another 20 seconds extra. But okay, let's start at 5:35, cut one. The title of this video is The Rise of Islam Should Concern Every American, especially with the midterms approaching. But we got to get some stuff, some things at least for all of us, standardized. Kind of like what Steve did with talk of Nephilim, Rephaim, and such. Standardize the language. Okay, let's make sure we are all in agreement first with certain language. So let's play cut 1. This is about Islam, and let's start at 5:35. There's more to this, but let's start at 5:35 and just play this until the end. Okay, it's about a minute and minute and a few. So here it is.
Islam as a political system, not just a religion.
Recognize that large parts of its function as a political ideology, similar to communism or fascism. Islam is not just a religion. Islam has a religion. Islam is a political ideology that seeks to acquire power and impose its system on society. That is not a religion, and do not separate that political component by calling it Islamism, as if it has nothing to do with Islam. It is Islam.
Okay. Would you, can that be any clearer? Randy Taylor, we've been saying this forever.
Yep.
Islam is not a religion. It has a religion.
It uses religion as a guise to protect itself. But that's how it gets the rights and the powers that it gets. Because, we're religion. We're religion. Oh, you got to give us those rights. It's not a religion. Okay? It's based in a political system. The religion is like, they wore a purple coat. That's what it means. You know what I'm saying? That's not what Islam's based in. That's not where Islam gets its power.
No.
Okay, you ask Muslims to tell you about the Quran. You ask those little snot-nosed kids on the street that thinks, if you happen to get in that discussion with them, they can't answer you anything about the Quran. I know more about the Quran. Doug knows more about the Quran than most of these Muslims. They only know what their imam has taught them. You try and, if you could get them to listen, you can explain to them how Islam started out pretty gentle, pretty much like a bunch of hippies, and then grew violent. And grew violent through time. And that's the way it is, okay? And that's the way and they can't deviate from that. Now, they'll say, well, your Old Testament, it's very violent. Yes, you just said the key words, the Old Testament. Then Jesus, his son, when Jesus died on the cross for our sins, God made a new covenant with man. Okay? Yeah. So we progressively got more gentle as time went on. Okay, we went from eye for an eye to turn the other cheek. All right, so Islam doesn't have that say so, because it's right in there.
Hold on a second. Okay, when you say eye for an eye to turn the other cheek, please, I don't want people to think that Christianity is turned into like a wussy thing, because it's not. It's not. Okay, so
I'm giving you an example of the difference between the Old Testament and the New Testament.
Okay, that's fine.
I think they got that.
Okay.
But Islam cannot get away from the chronological order of the Quran. It says right in the Quran that you will do what the Quran tells you, and you will stay in chronological order. So we went from down here to where they literally got kicked out, okay, to up here where they are told to slay the infidel. That's us. That's us. Color any color you want. Black, yellow, white. If you don't subscribe to Islam, you are the infidel and you are to be killed. That's what the book says. So they have no argument. There is no argument that a Muslim can have with you in favor of the Quran and Islam itself. And just if you don't even want to get into that, just ask yourself one simple question. What have Muslims contributed to mankind? And I want you to think long and
wasn't one sent up to space? I mean, I'm not sure.
But think long and hard. White guys are the ones that came up with space travel. Think long and hard.
No, I know. I was
What
joking.
Muslims have actually ever contributed to mankind. Give me anything medical, okay? Anything even philosophical that was of value, anything mechanical, anything, something maybe that saved lives, or like Doug said about space travel. You can't come up with one.
No, now I just want to say this: in the larger cultural arena, I believe that's true. Are there exceptions? Absolutely. And Dino, to your point about the Talmud, the followers and adherents, and look, that's a huge problem as well. Okay, I totally agree. But the infiltration by that Talmudic sorcery kind of, but that's more. See, when you look at that, I would classify that as a bastardization of an existing religion, as opposed to the creation of Islam by this false prophet Muhammad in 532, right? Pedophile, right? Okay. The creation versus the perversion of a so I mean, there are nuanced differences between the two. Now, are they equally dangerous? I would say that there's a very similar danger, but the Islamic infiltration in terms of the masses is much greater. Now, when you look at the governing bodies and the leadership, then you've got that Talmud infiltration. I agree with that. Okay, but we're doing triage here. So we're not dismissing anything, but we're doing triage. So what Taylor said, I believe 100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So okay, all right. So we can understand Islam is not a religion. It has a religion. Let's go to the second video. Hang on.
It attempts to sell itself as a religion.
Right. And that's
it's an all-encompassing political system. But it encompasses everything they do in their lives.
But it achieves protected status as a religion. Yeah. See, our founders never expected this. Maybe they did. I don't know.
Thomas Jefferson warned us.
Well, yes, but in terms of taking over our government, states, local, and even parts of our federal government,
I believe that they thought it was possible. I mean, they knew, they were privy to the Crusades as far as what happened there, that information.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, and Jefferson was pretty straight up. He viewed Islam as a threat. Well, it is a threat.
Oh, yeah.
It is a wolf in sheep's clothing. They come in, they act nice, they feed the homeless and all that crap, and then they try and take over. These people need to be shown out of the country. They need 100%. To go. They need to go.
Okay, all right. Now,
you cannot name one Muslim city or country in this world that I would want to raise my family in. Not one.
Epic city. I'm kidding.
No, but seriously, not one.
No,
it's so perverted as far as what's sad is so many Muslims have no idea what the Quran says. And that's the part where they got them, okay? In Pakistan, sure, they have Qurans. They just can't read them because they don't speak Arabic in Pakistan. They can't read Arabic. And the Quran is in Arabic.
So now, there are some translations, so let's make sure.
But basically, you have a whole country there with a book they can't read.
Yeah.
So they have to depend on the imam. And that's where the real problem comes in, is these imams are so militant. And they know what they want to do. They know they want to take over. They know this. A lot of them have read the Quran and they know the truth of the Quran, but they will never tell their worshipers. They'll never tell them the whole truth unless they want to pull them aside and turn them into a terrorist.
Correct.
And I know that. I witnessed it. I've seen it. I know all about that crap. There's not a whole lot about Islam that you're going to tell me that I don't know. Okay, because I studied it because I had to know my enemy. And
100%.
Islam is the enemy of the United States. And when we started the counterterrorism thing, when I started that, first thing I did was a deep dive into Islam because I had to know what I was up against and who I was up against.
100%.
And that was a problem with a lot of people that were supposedly out there fighting Muslims, is they ended up being, oh no, there's good Muslims and this and that, like Bob Baer, that Robert Baer guy, the CIA guy. Okay. He was a disaster, absolutely a disaster, because he succumbed to Islam. You know, and when the CIA,
well, look at his leadership, or look at the leadership and those around him and below him too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And John Brennan, a CIA director, practicing Muslim.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to stop and think about this. We are in deep trouble. Keith Ellison, look at this guy. He's a Muslim and he's a scumbag. There's no good side to Keith Ellison. None. He should be doing time somewhere.
Exactly, because he's a crook.
With any luck, with any luck, oh yeah, we're not locking him because he's a Muslim. I want him locked up for the crimes he committed. It just so happens that he's a Muslim.
Okay, but he's also a member of the Democratic Socialists of America, and I want to get to this real quick here because we talk about this. So you've got Islam in the DSA. And the hell of a lot of crossover. Here's cut two. Victor Davis Hanson. Let's just go ahead and play the shorts of Victor Davis Hanson, and then we'll come back to a little bit more in the DSA, but and as well as Islam. So I mean, Taylor's right. Look, he's right. He's right. So go ahead and hit cut two. The video short.
Who are these Democratic Socialists of America? They want vastly higher taxes, including on unrealized profits and net worth. They want to have a socialist economy. They want to appropriate private property, private wealth. They want open borders. 1/3 of their support, I would imagine, are upscale white elites. They cannot afford rent or to buy a home, much less. They can't get married. They can't have children, and they're angry. There's a second group. These are immigrants, first and second generation, from what we used to call the former third world. And they tend to come from failed states, mostly because, ironically, of communism or socialism. Originally, their parents came to get out of those systems, and they are told by the universities and the media that the United States was bad, and they feel that career-wise makes sense to join the left because they don't have a lot of money initially, and they're going to get a lot of entitlements. There's a third group, and that's the DEI people. All of them are urban. All of them are angry at the Democratic Party because they blame them for allowing Donald Trump to take power away from them. They believe they can reenact socialism-communism because immigration has now brought in 53 million people who were foreign-born, 16% of the population, and they say that with mail-in voting, no voter ID, same-day registration and voting, they can reach their constituencies, legal or illegal, perhaps. They have confidence that 50 years of K through 12 and higher education has indoctrinated 2 or 3 generations more toward the socialist or communist point of view.
Because here are the facts.
There we go. So he categorized DSA into the segments, and I think that was a pretty accurate, but I don't know if it was all encompassing, but it was pretty accurate in terms of, okay, who comprised the Democratic Socialists of America? And then he went through from in the DEI through of course, the imports into the country, among others, the ideologically indoctrinated and such. So we have the Democratic Socialists of America. And so for a deeper dive, we have cut through video 3, which is a pretty long video, but I think it's important. But before we get to that, but RT, what do you think of?
It's important too that we figure out who is DSA and who's in the Democrat Party, because this is going to get real interesting. Because they're out taking sniper shots at the Democrats that we know.
All DSA members are Democrats, but not all Democrats are DSA members.
Bingo, exactly. I think people need to understand that there is division in the Democrat Party right now.
And the talking point right now, ahead of the midterms, is that DSA is going to take over, get larger, or otherwise neuter the Democratic Party.
Yep.
It's already happening.
Yeah, and listen, these people, I see the tendency for violence.
Yeah.
DSA, I really do. I'm telling you, because you can bank on Antifa, BLM, and these various groups that are made up of the younger members of society that don't mind going out and burning down a town on Saturday night. It's going to be DSA. Their ranks are going to be full of these people, and it's very important why. And this is where Trump dropped the fucking ball. All right, is they can't get jobs, they can't get homes, they can't get a loan for a home if they do find one. Stop and think about that. So what do they have to lose if these other people are preaching that, oh, we're going to take Elon Musk, his trillions, and put them in your pocket. We're going to make it where everybody can own a home. And they know in communist countries this is what happens. But they think being in America that is going to be like this happy, juicy fruit version of communism. It's not. Communism is dark and dirty. And anybody that thinks any different is an idiot. An idiot. And I reiterate that. And if you want to argue that point, you get a hold of me, okay? Because I'm going to tell you to stick it up your butt. I know different. Doug knows different. We all that have any sense, we know different. I'm not going to allow it. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to live forever anyway. I'm not going to allow it. I just know with my health and everything, I'm not going to allow this crap. I got a kid, and I want my grandchildren. I want my grandchildren, even if I never meet them. I want my grandchildren to have a decent place to live.
And Taylor and I, we've talked together separate to others, and look, we know we don't know when, but we know that our runways are perhaps shorter than others. Okay, and that causes a level of introspection like no other. Okay. I want people to really understand that.
A huge introspection. Doug and I have discussed this many, 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 many times, and I'm not going to let the country go on the toilet if I got a breath in me.
And you can put us together if you want. But here's the thing, RT, and this is something that I was thinking of. It goes back to the same thing I talked about before. Okay, when maybe it's okay to make fun of boomers like us, right? Maybe it's okay to call us old.
Laugh all you want.
Yeah, really, okay. But, and I've said this before, and maybe it's a byproduct or an artifact of age or just our mileage, yours and mine. We're high mileage dudes, right? This is some rough highway miles.
And with the speedometer in the red most of the time. So
yeah, the RPM's pretty high too. Okay, so here's what we are allowing when we talk about Islam. Now, do you think for 1 second, I was invited back come on back to YouTube. Do you think for 1 minute that any of this would have been allowed on YouTube?
No. They'd have been calling the law on us by now.
Okay, and they are, because in Canada they are. Yeah. In the UK, they are.
Yeah. You got to be careful what you say in Canada, because they're talking about filing lawsuits against people that speak out against the government online.
See, and in the US, they are starting. But here is the issue.
Can't allow it.
We can't allow it, but the very people, and please, folks, understand me. And look, I'm just going to call people. I'm going to call you out, okay? If you are a popular podcaster, and you're on YouTube, and you are engaged in self-censoring, you are helping the enemy. End of story.
Yep.
If you're on YouTube and you're acquiescing to the fact or allowing, you're saying, okay, we won't say sexual assault. We'll just call it SA. We won't say rape. We'll just call it the R word. In fact, we make up new words. See, we won't say, well, he killed him. No.
It's so pathetic.
He unalived him.
Yeah.
We got a dictionary anywhere? Unalived. I got to look up that word. He unalived him. So if we accept that, then we're a bunch of pathetic morons.
No, we're part of the problem.
And yes, exactly. And if we just go along with that and pretend, well, the message is more important. No. The message is extremely important, but not at the expense of saying it truthfully and calling it for what it is.
Yep. If you're out there and you have, you're part of a militia or anything like that in the United States, do me a favor and just get in contact with me. Just drop me an email and say hi. Okay? You don't have to give me any details. Drop me an email, say hello. All right? And I mean that.
Eric the Tech. Yeah, okay. This is going to work out good.
Well, got to start somewhere. I'm trying to gather people together, back channel, and it's not working very well.
If you're a part of a militia, please just give us a call.
But a militia is not illegal. It's not illegal to be in a militia. So just
I know.
Give me a shout. Let me know where you're at.
All right.
Yeah, I just had deja vu, so I'm saying the right thing.
Okay.
Yep.
Deja vu. Well, yeah.
I just had it just now. I just had deja vu. I'm where I'm supposed to be, and I'm saying the right thing.
So a rip in the time-space continuum.
God knew I would be here at this time today saying this.
Okay.
And I believe it's with his blessing.
Oh, I have no doubt. I mean, I believe it too, and I believe that we're supposed to be.
We got to start somewhere. We might as well know each other, guys.
Well, okay.
There's no crime. There is no crime in that.
And the title of nice programs: Takeover or Takedown. Wolves Among Us. Are we going to allow the takeover, or are we going to take them down? And that does go. It speaks to exactly that. So So here's the other part of this now, and here's where we're at. We rely on government institutions to do the job, right, Artie? To do the job, to take down, to wipe out, or to arrest, to neutralize the threats to our republic. We rely on the FBI to do that, the CIA to do that. To a lesser extent, they're good at starting wars and overthrowing governments. But anyway, we rely on the justice system, and what has happened is they have failed us. And
absolutely failed us.
They're gone.
Miserably.
We don't have a justice system.
Nope.
All right.
We do not.
Okay. So now you were talking about the closet Muslim, Barack Hussein, Barry Soetoro, Obama, right?
I'm in a wheelchair and I'd still just ask for 30 seconds in an elevator.
You could do a lot of damage by, believe me.
That little pencil neck son of a bitch be the worst 30 seconds of his life, I can tell you that.
Yeah, I've seen him in action.
I mean, unarmed. I'm talking unarmed. I'm just 30 seconds.
No, you just, not to be, and I don't mean this in any bad way, but I could see you just kicking his face using your
the prosthetic leg. Take it off and whale him with it.
That's what I can see that. Believe me, and that would hurt too. Which is why he's got spurs.
That little bastard's done more damage to this country than 5 other people that you could put in a group. I mean, he is dangerous, and he's dangerous today. The problem is he's still doing it.
Exactly.
And nobody's put their foot down and said, enough, pal.
So, okay. And now we're going to play the name game here. Okay, and this is always a fan favorite. I get a lot of email, get a lot of text, by the way, of people who really hate this. So how about this, folks in the chat? What do you think of? And I had a conversation today with somebody that, and I asked them about certain people. So folks in the chat, what do you think about the? How can I put this? If we were doing a poll, are they good? No, let's see. Are they honest? I don't know. Honest, trustworthy, honest, whatever. Are they well-meaning? Are they a wolf? Are they stupid? Or I don't know. So I'm going to throw out some names. John Solomon, Catherine Herridge, Jack Posobiec, Benny Johnson, Joe Rogan, Alex Jones, Doug Hagmann, Randy Taylor. But throw us in there. Randy, hop on with some names. Podcasters, broadcasters, influencers. Come on. Don't be afraid. I'm going on the limb here.
Laura Loomer.
Laura Loomer. Candace Owens.
Yeah, there's one.
Tucker Carlson.
Yeah. That's a good list.
Yeah, okay. Well, we can stop there.
Yeah.
So, at some point, do we not have to take stock and say, okay, who's really on our side? When I say our side, I'm talking about the side of America, the side of law and order, the side of
right and righteousness,
and right. And if God would say, yeah, okay, they're on that person. Yes, cool, all right,
yeah.
Okay, that's like the key. All right. Which God? The God of when I say God, capital G God, y'all make and now listen to this in the chat.
The Almighty God.
The Almighty God of heaven and earth, the only God, the God of the Holy Christian Bible, the God that made Adam and Eve, the God that made everything, the earth, the skies, the waters, God that God.
No.
Almighty God.
And no other
the only God. Any other questions? Bongino, yeah, too. I'd throw him in there.
Why not?
So, okay, all right, because I saw the name in there. Look. So, okay. All right, so the God of Abraham, of course. So okay, do we have, okay, now, those names I tossed out to you, there's a crap ton load. I mean, there's a whole boatload more, right? Because we have to, those people, Randy Taylor, just as we do, we have to pass the test. Now the test by God, of course, God, the Almighty God, we have to make sure that we are doing His will, and we have to make sure that He's guiding our steps, and that we are acting righteously, and we have to, so.
That he's doing the right thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, and let me toss something else out there. Believing that you're doing the right thing, is that the same as doing the right thing?
No.
Why not?
Because everybody has a different belief system.
But if there's only one God of
I understand that, but look at all right, take Shania Twain, for instance. She came out this week.
She's a singer?
She came out this week and said, or last week, whatever, recently, and said, yes, I am a Christian, but I'm pro-choice.
Pro-choice of what?
So there you go.
Choice of beverages? Coke, Pepsi, what?
There is the perfect example. She says, I'm a Christian, but I believe in abortion. I believe in killing little babies.
Oh, so yeah, she's pro-death.
Yeah.
Because pro-choice is not a thing.
Yeah, but I'm saying what she said.
Right. I'm not busting your balls. I get it.
But yeah, but there's an example of someone that thinks they're a Christian. So her set of beliefs, her belief system is certainly different than a true Christian.
Okay.
Very much so. So everybody, a lot of people, it's like the people that think that cult that thought they were going to ride the tail of a comet. That's their belief system. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, and people laugh at that, right?
Yeah, I might believe that the only way that this is going to be solved is through bloodshed.
And I'm to that point right now.
Another Christian will say, "Oh no, leave it in God's hands," and then I fall back on His part. I cannot do, and our part He will not do.
Would God? And let's talk about this.
Look at
would God be okay with bloodshed? Righteous. Now, what is righteous?
Righteous
what is
bloodshed.
that?
Well,
define that.
All right, I'll give you a historical example.
Okay.
The Crusades.
Ooh, oh boy.
Okay.
You got a couple of days. Go on.
But in a nutshell, going in to kick the Muslims out of Jerusalem. That's simple.
To encapsulate this discussion, I'll stipulate. Okay, go ahead.
But that's it. That's one right there.
Okay.
That's right. That's righteous.
Now the certain tribes, the biblical lineage does give title deed to certain lineage within the Bible, and certainly not the Islamic. Okay. Now that said, this is going to be a huge thing.
No, it's not.
Well, it is, because people are going to say, well, the Jews aren't really the Jews. Israel's not really the Bible. Israel of the Bible. I get all that.
I'm talking about the knights from England and the King of England going in there and fighting those bastards. That was righteous bloodshed.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I believe any time you protect people from oppression, that is righteous bloodshed.
Okay, there we go. Now, to bring this forward a little bit, okay, to 2020, at least 2020s, okay? You're riding the subway in New York City, okay? You're not supposed to be carrying a gun, because, believe me, ask me how I know. Anyway, no, don't ask me. I just went off on it. Okay, so you're riding the subway, and all of a sudden, you see somebody getting sexually assaulted. In other words, raped, brutally raped. See, I can say that because YouTube is not around, because I don't kowtow to the friggin' YouTube, the communists. Anyway, CommuTube. So, you see somebody getting raped, or in the process of being sexually assaulted, raped, or something horrific, somebody that is about ready to kill another person, and you take out your gun. It does not have to be New York City. It could be anywhere. Take out your gun, and you warn them. They say, "Hey, Taylor, fight me," and then you shoot them.
Better than a doornail.
Is that what you're talking? Now, would God say, "Good job"?
Yes, he would. Yes, he would.
Chat, do you agree with that? And be honest. Don't stoke anything. I'm just curious.
Much better. He would agree with that more than you falling on your knees and praying.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Honestly, thanks for bringing that, because I really think that if God chose to have a physical presence, he'd smack you upside the head for doing that and say, "Get over there and come on, man.
No,
come on, man."
I believe that if he was going to make a physical presence, he would do it before I have to get down on the ground and start crying.
I agree, but I'm just trying to be funny. But I think. Okay, so chat. Would you agree that is biblically righteous to do that, or no? I'm just curious. Am I stuck on this chat? Oh, I am. Sorry. I guess I screwed up there. So
what's it doing?
Okay, no, I didn't. I was stuck way back where. Okay, so yeah, So people are saying, there are evil tools of Satan out there. So yes, if he had to do it, it would be very limited. Okay. Well, look at what he did to Sodom and Gomorrah. To your point, in terms of the biblical context. Look at David. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and we're still fighting the American Revolution. Okay, yeah. So I'm going back.
It's like when David killed Goliath. I mean,
okay. So, Frog Lady, thank you. I believe righteous anger is called. See, I can't even read this, let alone that. So I can see how you got like a 6 of whatever.
6 of hearts, man.
I got that.
I need my eyes done and my ears done, and that's just ridiculous. I can't hear what my wife tells me. I can hear you okay because you got me this nice set of headphones.
Huh? I did?
Yeah,
Eric the Tech, did we do that?
Years ago, about 5 or 6 years ago. So I can hear really good, but here in the house, it's to the point that it's causing problems.
Well,
I can't hear.
Yeah, don't get me started on that too.
Yeah.
But okay, so okay. Now, because I believe it, we could talk about the headlines, like, you know, we can show you rage bait videos all day friggin' long, all program long, but it doesn't solve the problem. So
how about we use our forefathers, for example?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Which I think that's a good example.
It's a very good example that, you know, their anger and their needing to shed blood, it was necessary. And they put this country on the right track, you know, believing in God, and everything was right at the time once they defeated England. You know, this country was a gift, and blood had to be shed to get that gift, to receive that gift.
Yes.
Plain and simple. Plain and simple. And we did very well as far as God being very prevalent in society in the United States. And then when we okayed abortion and started okaying some other things, things really went downhill, and went downhill fast. You know, you can't as a society say it's okay to kill babies because you wanted a night of pleasure. You know what I mean? And I mean, you didn't take the precautions or whatever. And don't start at me about birth control because I get it, okay? However, I would rather that people did birth control than kill a baby that's 3 months old. That's where I'm at. And,
okay,
you know, we could argue that point all day long, so I'm not going to go down that road. But there is times when blood has to be shed to do the right thing. And that's plain and simple. Okay, when you're fighting the devil, I say all bets are off.
I think you're right.
And you need to use every tool in your arsenal to fight off the devil, because he's a powerful adversary, and his demons are powerful adversaries. And I believe that God's there with you. And it's you have to go into battle with the right reasons. You know, you really have to. You've got to be righteous in your heart and righteous in your fight. And that it's for the right things. So not go, oh, I think I'm just going to enjoy shooting people.
No.
I can say that because I knew people in the military that were like that.
Yeah, my dad told me about something like that.
Yeah, they enjoyed the killing.
Right. My dad was in World War II in the Pacific Theater, and he never talked about that. And then he had some photographs, and they were horrific. But before he passed away, I was talking with him, and he was talking about the people that there were guys that enjoyed that. And as we saw, RT, even further, even more so in Vietnam and Korea and then Vietnam, and then now,
yeah, it's a problem. It exists.
Yeah,
but you want to be righteous in your fight.
So
and you have to also be able to say when you meet your maker that I had no other options, and be correct.
Okay, when you say you have no other options, does that mean it was you or the other person, or does that mean we tried everything in terms of...
That's collectively, we tried everything.
Okay, all right. An important distinction because
somebody has to make that decision to fire the first round.
And just to be clear, like I really have to say this, okay, we're not planning an insurrection here. We're talking, we're having an intellectual discussion about what we need to do.
We're batting this around because we're running out of options, people. the voting thing didn't work very good.
And that's another thing with all the fraud that's shown.
Oh God, we're never gonna get an accurate count. And now they're allowing the mail-in ballots again. We're arm up, people. Okay, because it'll take a miracle, literally, for this vote to come out right at these midterms. It's going to take a miracle because we have let things get so far out of hand.
Right. And Eric the Tech, I sent you the main Senate candidate. Okay. Now, I got to show you I got to show you two. This is part of. So you have DSA, you got Islam, and then you have, as a subset of the DSA, in a Venn diagramish sort of way, you've got the trans ideology, which is a formidable component, right? Okay, so
and a mentally ill component.
Correct. Yes.
Easy to program.
And here's another. Okay, since you brought that up, RT, and folks, I'm talking to everyone, chat, everyone. When you see these people, is it mental illness or is it demonic possession? Or is it demonic inspired? Is it more mental illness or demonic?
I would say it's mental illness, but it's inspired by demonic possession.
Okay.
And that's a driving force.
All right. Because in Maine, just check this out. Some of the more objectionable clips that I had of this individual, I'm not going to play. Because this person, oh my goodness, no. But think of this. How is this even possible? Folks, did you see this? And I'm going to be looking for reaction in the chat. Erica just sent this to you. 49-second Maine. Hang on a minute. Let me get this right. Transgender. The female name is Ashley. Ashley J. Webb is running for U.S. Now, this is U.S. Senate.
Shit.
Now, imagine this individual as. See, when we put the Senate vote to the people, problem.
We've already got a tranny congressman.
Yes.
See, so we've already let him in. That's the problem.
But the House, the lower chamber, okay. But man, we should. By the way, when that amendment passed to put the Senate vote to the people, that was one of the worst things. But okay, so here is. Just check this out, folks. Help me out, RT. Help me out here too.
With what?
I don't know.
What do you need help with there, buddy?
Watch this, guys, folks. Go ahead, Eric. Fire away.
What qualifications do you have to serve in the U.S. Senate?
I ran for office several times. Didn't win, but I did run. And then I'm a songwriter, and then I write my own books. And then I suppose my transparency, I wouldn't lie to the people, and I wouldn't deceive the people like we're being deceived right now. Like, we get lied to, smoke and mirrors, like what's going on with ICE, pretending like these victims did something wrong. Like, that's unacceptable. And I suppose the biggest thing is, like, I'm just an angry citizen now, and if I got elected, I'd be an angry senator, and I think that would probably be their worst nightmare.
What state is that in?
Maine.
Okay.
So this guy.
It's only 8 hours away.
He said he ovulates. He's got a monthly period. He's got a wiener. Okay, just to be clear.
Well, he'd have a period if I got a hold of him.
He'd have a bunch of periods if
I'd blow his stuff right off. Then he'd have a period.
Double odd periods. Yeah.
Now you get to be.
but see, okay.
And this is mentally ill. Why is this being allowed to even be discussed? This is what I don't understand.
That's
no sense.
Okay, so
this And for them to even go, oh, yeah, I want to be in a legislative seat. Get out of my office. I mean, that's the response they should get. They're mentally ill. They can't determine if they're a male or female. How in the hell are they going to make decisions for the country? Get out. See, this is what I'm done with, Doug. This is stupid.
But there are people who back this
I know.
this thing.
And they need to have their voter cards rescinded. This is ridiculous, Doug.
Their human cards rescinded.
Something is very, very wrong in this country. Satan is alive and well, and I don't know how else to deal with it, Doug. I don't know how else to deal with it.
I don't think we have a
Right?
see.
Because prayer ain't working.
Well, no, it is working. It's okay. You don't think it's working?
Nope.
What are you praying for?
Because
Maybe pray. Maybe folks, Chat. What do you think about that? Prayer's not working.
You have to pray. You have to pray in earnest, and we do that. I just think it's gone beyond that, Doug. I don't think that we're going to vote our way out of this mess either.
No,
I wouldn't
I
stop
agree.
praying. I wouldn't stop praying. I'm not saying that. Because you can move. I mean, we move forward and we're righteous. I would hope that people would pray. Because that's the only way that what we do is going to be righteous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to run that through.
Yeah.
A couple of times. Yeah, I get that.
General Patton always prayed. Always prayed. And there's not a whole lot of difference between General Patton and fighting an enemy than being right here and being a Christian and fighting an enemy. Because people say, well, it's not sanctioned. I don't need sanctions. My sanctions from the Lord.
Agreed. Now, I want to toss this out at your puke bucket in the chat. Name, sorry. Okay. Says, and I quote, I hope it wins F Maine. Now, okay. That's a fair look. You know, it would be like you get what you ask for, right? You want it, here you go. But wouldn't that be like saying to, like, I don't know, a grandchild or a sister, you want that guy? Go ahead. But it affects the family. It affects the country. Or am I wrong? Are we wrong? I don't know. What do you think, RT?
No, I'm not wrong.
Huh.
What did our forefathers say, Doug? That I govern myself as the forefathers did.
I'm not sure.
That's where I lean towards.
I'm not sure George and Tom and all. I don't think they talked about, these idiots. I don't know.
What idiots? What? Just
the Ashley Bubbas.
They weren't, because they weren't around that. But they would have, if they had popped up back then, they would already be dead. They would have already executed them, or put them in some sort of mental institution. They wouldn't have left them walking around the streets.
Yeah.
No way. There is no way. No way. I mean, come on. These people took on England over taxes. Taxes that are like way more than we pay.
Well, there was also a gun issue there, but generally speaking,
look at that small little amount of taxes that pissed them off.
Yeah.
And infringing on their religious rights by saying you will worship the Church of England. No, we will not. And that was a bigger driving force than the history books want to tell you, because they don't want people gaining strength from resisting a religious ideology. You understand what I'm saying? They play that part of the Revolutionary War down, but it had a lot to do with freedom of religion. It had a lot to do with it. It's just like the Civil War. Everybody tries to primarily blame, and it was all about slavery. No, it's about a bunch of things.
Which
slavery is in there.
Yes.
Yeah. See, so that's history as they want to try and teach kids. where you've really got to dig in and look outside of your normal historical references. You really got to dig in if you want to find out what we went to war over.
Okay. So, kind of the question I had earlier, though, and it kind of brings everything forth. We identified the foundational part of this showed that we're being gamed. Again, I like to talk about the mental aspect of this. Okay, so you saw the mental, the mental shaping of perception and our beliefs, and how maybe a story becomes part of our belief system. That the foundation for the show, for this episode. And then we got into Islam and the DSA, and then we kind of wandered over into tranny territory. And I'm not talking about 57 Chevy tranny. I'm talking about this kind of shit. So perversion, and then we're talking intermixed in there. We're talking about the righteous response and shedding of blood in a righteous manner. So now what? Because here's the thing: a lot of podcasters will talk. Oh, look, Iran's getting bad. This is happening. That's happening. Yeah, it's all true. But we can. Is it just okay to talk about it? I mean, so
there's too much.
You said it
about it.
Yeah, you said it, man. We're not. I mean, we're high mileage. Our warranty's out.
We're not winning.
Huh.
We're not winning with the current methods. We're not winning.
Okay,
we're in trouble if these midterms are going to be a problem if they go south on us. I'm crazy. You're not going to believe. I mean, we already have just such a small hold in the House. You know what I mean? But
the whole. Okay, so think about this as well. The hold that we have, or the majority that we have in the House, do we really have a majority?
Not really.
And I think you had sent something to me about, boy, Mitch McConnell's certainly not a topic of conversation anymore.
Yeah, notice how he just vanished out of the mainstream media. Just boom, not a word, not a peep.
Imagine how that. I mean, it's not funny. It seems like that always happens. Americans have. I mean, we move on. Like we should still be talking about the Owan brothers. We should still be talking about TWA Flight 800 and answers. All of this.
We should be talking about 9/11.
Absolutely.
What's happened in New York should have never happened with this stinking Muslim coming in.
Oh, and it's going to get worse.
It is already. I mean, he's talking about arresting people from other Netanyahu, but the fact that a New York mayor thinks that he can arrest a visitor to the White House is ridiculous.
Yeah, the supremacy clause has a little. I mean, we got that's a. I mean,
this is the kind of shit they're going to put. Imagine to give them some power. Jeez, we can't have this. This GSA, it plans to do away with the Senate, with the governing bodies, and just writing these rules that apply to everybody. I mean, it is a communist tool. Ladies and gentlemen, and right now you have the Muslims and the communists working together. That is a problem. That is a huge problem. So we have two really severe enemies right in front of us. That's Muslims and communists. I just gave you your targets. That's who your enemy is.
Yeah.
Muslims and communists. They are devil-inspired, Satan-inspired. And if you can't see that, then you're lost. You're out to lunch.
Well, to add to this, and folks, please do me a favor and please keep everything that we talked about, everything that RT mentioned and that we mentioned together. Again, the righteous aspect of going to war to right, or to not right the wrongs, but to going to war. Or just
and I'm talking about backing up the president. This
backing up the Constitution and the Word of God.
Constitution and a president that can't seem to get things done. His heart's in the right place, but things ain't happening. I don't understand any of this. I don't understand why Barack Hussein Obama isn't sitting in a jail cell.
Right, I don't
get it. Okay, and he knows everybody that was involved in trying to overthrow him. He knows all of them. He's got them.
Right.
He's got the evidence, and he's not doing anything about it.
Hence my question before about, Solomon, he brings out the information, Herod reports it. You got, but see, you got Bongino, who now reports it from, cushy digs.
He is useless as chits on a bull.
Exactly.
I have no use for Bongino. None.
Okay. But now going back to what you're saying, it's not, and here's where I'm at. I don't believe that we would be fighting for Trump. We would be fighting for the Constitution and the country.
Yes. However, he's the only one in Washington that seems to be going in the direction we want to go.
Most of them, sometimes. Yeah.
I don't trust Johnson or Thune.
No.
Neither one of them.
I don't trust anybody in there.
And these activist judges. I mean, we have a very limited amount of people that see things the way us patriots see it.
Hey, let's take a left here. Take a turn. I just thought of this. Did you see Ariana Presley, her husband, the dead body turning up in his property? Did you see that? RT?
No, I didn't.
Folks, did you hear about this? Okay, hang on a second here. Hold on. Okay, so here, Eric the Tech. Here you go. You notice that. You notice that you don't see this on the news, right? All right. Check this out, and tell. I gotta send this to you. Hang on. Folks in the chat, did you hear about this? Come on, man. Answer yes or no, and it'll be cool. All right, so here I'm sending this to you, Eric the Tech, and RT. Okay, so RT, here it comes. So, all right. Okay, here we go. All right. It cleared the runway. All right, stand by. All right. So you tell me what you think about this. So, Pelosi, her husband, the hammer, right? and then he goes off and hit and run. He just a couple of weeks ago, smashes into a car, hit and run. Pelosi's husband, right?
Yeah, that loser.
Okay. But okay, now we have this, which I found just very intriguing. How come? Hang on a second. Holy crap. I guess my computer. Okay, sorry about that. Something happened with my computer. I did, didn't I? Hang on. Yeah, something happened here. Sorry about that. Honest to goodness, man. I just don't know. Okay, you're going to have to, Eric Tech, you're going to have to get the video from the link within. This is on the social media thing. Holy moly. Randy Taylor. You guys see this, man.
All right. While he's doing that, though, I do support our president.
I do too. I mean, yeah.
And I just think that he's constantly getting the wind knocked out of his sails, and he doesn't. When he wants to make a move, he doesn't have the people around him to support him. And I can't sit back and watch this country crash. We're the last thing in the world. We're the last country in the world to stand up against the globalists. We're it. That's it. Us.
Yeah.
Look at us. And the world is depending on us. We better get our shit together. And I mean that. We better get it together quick. Okay? Because you're running out of time. We're running out of time. And I hate to see the next presidential election. People are so upset right now because they can't have houses, they can't do this, they can't do that. I know that some of the American workers are feeling the brunt of the tariffs that Donald Trump is putting into place on Canadian products coming in. He just decided to jack them some more. And that's another thing. I'm finding out when I talk with people, they don't understand how tariffs work. Okay. tariffs are put on products by the receiving country, not the country that sells the products, the one that receives the products. And this is a huge misconception, especially in Canada, because Canada's got people thinking that, well, Trump put a tariff on it. That means that the Canadians are paying more. Yes, they are. But those are reciprocal tariffs from your own country. The receiver puts the tariff on the products. So if we're paying more in Canada for products, that's because of Mark Carney and the liberals, not because of Donald Trump. Just because Trump puts tariffs on something doesn't mean that Carney has to. So if you're paying more at the counter, that's on Mark Carney. That is not on Donald Trump. And if you don't know that, you skip civics class. But I'm finding out that many people do not understand what tariffs are and who imposes tariffs. Make sure you understand that. The country that's receiving imposes the tariff. So when Donald Trump puts a tariff on stuff, he's saying, okay, Canadian steel that comes in is going to have this tariff on it. All right? Canada has nothing to do with it. What Canada has is what they do to their population. Okay, I want to make that clear because so many people do not understand tariffs. I just gave you tariffs class. Okay, it's not the person that's exporting. Tariffs come from the importer. Okay, make sure you understand that. There will be a quiz.
Okay.
And I've met people that I thought knew their act about economics and all that. I had no idea that the importer puts the tariffs on. And I was shocked.
You know, when I was, but see, I was talking to Steve Quayle today, and briefly, because he could barely talk. And we were talking about gold and silver and the markets and the markets reacting to, Iran and destabilizing factors, and he said something really quick. He said, but all the experts, gold and silver, they've always they're notoriously wrong a lot of times, most of the time. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't surprise me to what you were saying about the
lack of knowledge.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. I was talking with a banker this last week in Canada, a banker.
Mm-hmm.
He did not understand how the tariffs work. That's a banker. Yep.
I'm not sure bankers understand anything. Okay, like, your local bank.
They're a scary bunch. That's why you go into banks anymore. You can't get a loan by the people that are in that building. It's got to be okay by somebody up top. It used to be you walked in, you sat down with a loan officer, they put the loan together, and they went and got the manager in the bank to sign it. And that was it. It was done. Not anymore. It'll always be somebody off property that makes that decision. Somebody further up the corporate ladder. They don't trust the people at bank level to make those decisions unless you're in a community bank.
Savings and loan community bank, depending on the savings and loan. Yeah.
And the smaller ones, but your large ones, nope, you will wait.
The community is what you said is that word is operative. We had a small savings and loan community owned. The board of directors was all community members and stuff. It was not, of course, it's not that way anymore, but that's the way it started. And when you apply for a mortgage, the board would meet, and I'll tell you what, it was all in house. It was all, it was like Mayberry kind of stuff, right?
Yep.
Now it's not.
Yep.
Anyway, okay. So
there's a good chance you knew somebody on the board,
or
they knew you.
And you know what? That's another thing too. Your reputation mattered back then.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Just saying. All right. So about this, now look, all right. You find a dead body in a house owned by a House of Representatives husband. You'd think that would wouldn't you think that'd be newsworthy?
Yeah, you'd think he stumbled into Pelosi's house.
Or Schiff, or
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Of course, we don't hear about that, right?
Schiff only if the corpse was laying down with the pants around the ankles and butt in the air.
Yeah. So okay. Ariana Presley. I think did I send you that? Yeah, I sent you the. I sent it to Eric the Tech. So here's the deal on that. Where'd I put it? It's over here. All right, there it is. Or no. Oh. All right. So an 18-year-old girl was found with a shotgun, or not shotgun, with a gunshot wound, dead, and there it is, right there. Let me see if I pull that up. Yeah. So Ariana Presley, of course, is the rube, the shiny rube from Massachusetts, right? I think. Anyway, 18-year-old teen found dead, gunshot wound, was allegedly having an affair with Presley's husband. Now, is that true? I don't know. But even if that's not true, what the hell is an 18-year-old girl doing dead in the house of a convicted criminal married to a sitting congresswoman? There's so much wrong with that statement, isn't there?
Yeah, the whole picture is pretty dirty.
In case you missed it, let me say. So you have an 18-year-old girl who is dead from a gunshot wound in the home of a convicted criminal married to a sitting congresswoman.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you even start with that sentence?
I know, and I look at that piece of shit, and why is she a congresswoman? There's nothing, not even remotely, right about this chick. Nothing. Look at her. Just look at her.
I can't. The shine from the glare from the
disgusting.
top.
She's disgusting, and she should not be. This is the problem. We've let too much garbage get into our legislative houses, and then we wonder, why are the laws like this? Well, look who's making them. This has got to stop. This has got to stop. I don't know what we have to do to get the population thinking right, but one thing we do need to do is get the illegals out.
Yes.
Get the Muslims out. Why? I don't want their vote counted. I don't want them voting. I don't want them making any decisions in this great nation.
Boy, we got off the track, didn't we?
Yeah, but I want these people, I want them out of here. Gone.
I do too.
Stick them on a boat and ship them. Get them out. Because this garbage does not even need, we shouldn't even be pulling from a pool that contains this crap.
So on the deportation, who's screwing the pooch on this? Because we're not even close to getting the numbers out.
No, I looked at it, and some of the estimates I heard of how many illegals we had, I did the math on it. If we deported 10,000 people a week, it would take 27 years to get the garbage out.
Wait.
And I'm sick and tired of this.
You got to do the math on that.
They lived here for 25 years and raised a family, and yeah, they were illegal, but they weren't a problem. They were criminal from the word go.
10,000 a week. Okay, hold on. So times 52. Help me out here. So that would be 520,000, right?
Right.
It's a $500,000.
Right, times 27.
So $500,000. So it would be 13.5 million in 27 years.
It would take a long time.
That's not even the 13.5 million.
No, we got more. No. We got more than that. I was doing it at more of an 80 million, Doug.
Is my math wrong? Hang on a second.
Yeah, you're
carry the one, not to carry the one. Wait. Where'd I go wrong, folks? Anyway, this is
take the number of 80 million, okay, and let's see if you do. 50,
how about this? How about we strive for 40 million this year and 40 million next year? Wouldn't
that would be great?
Is that okay?
That would be great. We'd have to have an ice army the size of the U.S. military.
Well, I'll tell you what. You and I, you could drive the bus. Okay, you and I will run a bus, and we'll volunteer. You can drive the bus. We'll put hand controls in there. Oh, you're pretty good. No, you're okay with that. So you drive the bus. Who's with us? We'll get some people to come on, and we'll round them up. We'll go to Home Depot and Lowe's and like 6:30 in the morning, and come on, got a paint job for you. And where do we drop them off?
We're you know what? It's got to be a collective effort, and I just think that it's almost like we can't get out of our own way. You know what I mean?
But see, that goes back to how I started. And I believe this to be the case. I think we create our own problems in some cases. I think that we fall for narratives that are untrue. And I think that we also self-limit based on our own erroneous perceptions. And that's kind of what I was going at initially. And I think that that's part of the problem. Kind of for a serious moment here. And if you watch this again, or definitely watch that Spidey episode about the Tyler Robinson and about how, and also remember this, when you're dealing with cards and criminals, the house always holds all the cards, basically. So, okay.
You don't beat the house.
That's right. And to the various commenters' points, 100% right about, look, do we have a problem with, the Talmudic sect of the perverse sect of Judaism? 100%. But again, that's more of a perversion / bastardization of Judaism, whereas Islam is a whole construct, and it's a political movement as opposed to a quasi-religious, however you want to describe that movement. But it's something that still needs to be on the table. Okay, all right. So there's that. But we got off. Oh, Chandra Levy, speaking about getting off, but you know what? That shouldn't surprise any of us. And the bigger story here is that $2 billion contract that Maura Healey of Maine awarded that criminal husband of Ariana Presley in a no-bid contract for God knows what. I'm just saying. So we don't talk about that. So why talk about an 18-year-old dead girl? Oh, and, speaking of dead people, let's not forget Chandra Levy, back on May 1st, 2001, who disappeared in Washington. And Gary Condit, you know him, right? And, of course, he said, I got nothing to do with it. But then, my favorite in terms of, stuff, we have Lori Klazutis, the 28-year-old intern. Remember Joe Scarborough, the congressman back, Florida congressman, July 2001. My goodness, 2001. That was a busy year, wasn't it? For dead interns.
Yeah.
But then, of course, you might say, well, now wait a second. Klazutis had a medical event. Levy was killed it was proved somebody else killed her, and it had nothing to do with Condit. Okay. Pick a card. Now, concentrate on that card. I'll put that card down. Yeah. It's your card, right? Oh, yeah. That's what I'm saying. RT, man.
Yep.
What do you think? Now you had a rough. You had a rough day. I don't know. I don't know exactly 100% what's going on. You feel all right?
No, just I felt like crap the last couple of days. All right, I have no strength, and some days I don't even feel like getting out of bed. But I'll get out to come and see you guys. That's what Thursday, if you want, I'll come in. Whatever you're gonna do.
What do you think, chat? What y'all think?
Tell me stuff about my ass.
Dead cooks. By the way, thank you very much. Yes. Going backwards. Dead yes. Obama's chef, right?
Personal chef. Nothing is done about it. That's the part right. I don't get. That should be enough to shame him to where he shouldn't show his face publicly.
Well, then you have, don't forget Lieutenant Quarles Harris, going back to his days as a junior, in Chicago.
Look at the Clintons, the body count on those people.
Yeah,
the lawyer. Remember the lawyer across the river? Boom.
Dead. Oh, Vince Foster. I was there. I went to the park. I went to Fort Marcy Park. I was there.
Unbelievable, and nothing is done about it. It's a little bit done, and then that's the end of it. Yeah. I just now. Did you see where Rand Paul has got Fauci?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Rand Paul has got him pinned down now, and he has to appear. He has to appear in front of Rand Paul. And I think it's like, is it the first of the month?
Hang on. I do have the paperwork for that. I do have the filings.
I want to watch that because Rand Paul has been on this. He has been trying for this for so long because I'm telling you, he knows Fauci is guilty. He knows it. And he's not just, Rand Paul isn't just doing this for the hell of it. Because he's, one thing I'll give Rand Paul, he can be a bit of a pain in the ass sometimes. However, he is a constitutionalist. That's a good description of him. He believes everything by the Constitution. And he thinks Fauci's guilty. And he wants Fauci punished, not living the lavish lifestyle that he's living. This guy's got bodies all over him.
Oh, Fauci?
This little bastard is like the most heinous people in the Nazi party. He's that style. He's that type. This person is Satan.
I'll tell you something. Randy Taylor, I'll never, again, I've said this before, I'll say it one last time, maybe not, but I'll never forget Gate of Heaven Cemetery on Long Island, looking at the mass graves caused by Fauci's experiments on children.
Yeah.
Okay. People say, it didn't happen. Oh, the hell it didn't. I was there.
There you have it.
That's just part of it.
That's enough for me to say he doesn't need to breathe anymore.
No, exactly. And then, of course, you had the AIDS, that crap with the AIDS, the AZT, what is AZT and all that stuff. Yeah.
I'm tired of these. This is a mass murderer walking around amongst us.
Indeed.
I want you to think about that. Think about that.
I wanted to end with this for tonight. And you know what, folks, I don't know how you like this if you think we suck. Do we suck? I mean,
if we suck, tell us. I'll find something else to do.
Me too.
I'm serious.
Now, wait a second. Do we suck? That's probably not the best choice of words.
just say it. We suck.
Yeah.
I'll go sit on a street corner somewhere and collect money.
I'll give you the pencils. Do you know back in the day? I gotta tell you this real quick. Back in the day, undercover operation. Pennsylvania state cop was dressed up, had a cup. This is a true story, I swear. Had a cup, had pencils, and was selling pencils, doing surveillance. But he was located in a park. Okay, and
that's a good cover,
right? And he looked the part. I mean, everything. You know what really effed him up? The pencils were you know how the old number 2 pencils, the yellow ones, the name on them had Pennsylvania State Police on it.
Oh, great! That was smart.
Just saying, you can't. Yeah, I mean, how bad you can't make this stuff up, man.
Well, we got you folks for a minute. Support this platform.
Support Taylor too. Yeah,
if you got a couple, I'm about halfway out of the hole that I'm in, and if you want to help, if you can help, I'm at rt.recoveryfund@gmail.com, and also at help and then the number 4 rt@gmail.com. You can do that through PayPal. If you can, that's cool. It's been weeks since I've seen $1, so. Oh wait, I did. I'm sorry. Someone did about 2 weeks ago.
And by the way, please
Anyway,
don't send it to us because that's the other thing.
Get out of the hole.
Yes, I just want to make sure you send it to RT because when you send it to us, it's got like 19,000 steps.
Yeah,
I mean,
and if I'm in Canada, they kill it.
Yeah,
they absolutely kill it with fees. It's unbelievable what they do with the fees. So, but anyway,
so the link will be
and like I said, you'll see a guy named Lance, is a friend of mine. You'll see his name in the transaction. That's because he's handling it for me. But if you can, cool. And also, if you can, support Doug. Okay, this platform,
all of us.
We've got so much to do. So much to do. I need your help. Doug needs your help. Hagmann Report needs your help.
We might need bail money considering the fact that you said, hey, any malicious contact.
Well, that's true. But, that's not a crime to be in a militia. It's not a crime to contact me. So,
no. You'll just get a lot of feds.
I'm just expanding the Christmas card list. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah. I'll just care of the FBI, DC. All right. So, thank you.
They don't do anything. So,
well, no, they go after the Patriots, and they go after objectionable social media posts, and then of course Cash Patel, he drinks and loves to go on the party circuit. But aside from that, and Bongino, goes for a year, and then okay, go over here. All right,
just call him Bull Titty.
Bull Titty.
That's what we call Bongino, Bull Titty.
I haven't heard that in a long time.
Oh, he's just useless.
All right, so so folks, here's what I'd like to end with. And RT, I'd like to end with this. You think back, remember Clarence Thomas, his nomination here, or what do you call it? Nomination or confirmation hearings.
Yes.
Back in the 90s, right? C3, an account on X, C3, I don't know this person or this poster, but C3 posted this video. This is a comparison. It's 1:30 roughly long, all right? In closing, everything that we talked about today, Randy Taylor, myself, you folks among yourselves, I want you to compare Clarence Thomas with Amy Comey Barrett. Side by side. C3 on X, his handle is at C_3, C_3. So that's where this is sourced from. I think you'll see it on the video. But watch this and consider this as we close out tonight, because this is, I think, this summarizes. Just as the initial video kind of set the stage, this kind of closes the curtains. Watch this.
I'd rather die than withdraw. If they're going to kill me, they're going to kill me.
So you'd still like to serve on the Supreme Court?
I'd rather die than withdraw from the process. Not for the purpose of serving on the Supreme Court, but for the purpose of not being driven out of this process. I would not be scared. I don't like bullies. I've never run from bullies. I never cry uncle, and I'm not going to cry uncle today, whether I want to be on the Supreme Court or not.
So I thought I would just share a little bit about how the threats have affected me and my family personally. They have required me to, my children, to think about and see things that children should not have to see or think about. One example is when threats to my life were particularly intense a few years ago, around the time of the Dobbs leak. My security detail sent me home with a bulletproof vest, and I carried it into my house, put it into my bedroom, dropped it down on a table, turned around, and my 12-year-old son was standing in the doorway of my bedroom, and he wanted to know what it was and why I had it, and I didn't know how to respond because maybe I lack imagination, but I didn't expect that performing this service was going to put me in the position of explaining to my children what a bulletproof vest was and why I had to wear one.
Where? So, there we have it. RT.
There you have it. There you have it, folks.
in a very interesting contrast, wouldn't you say?
You got to
So-
fix this mess, man.
So I was just curious, in closing, what was the consensus? We suck. We should be off air. I don't know. All right. Well, thank you, folks. Regardless, thank you for assisting RT. Thanks for your support of us. Share the broadcast if you think it's worth it. If not, hey, no worries. Thank you, moderators, for look.
That's a thankless job, the moderator position. You guys are like the star on the wall in the CIA building. Okay, the ones that never get the credit.
Okay. Yeah. You're a star on somebody's wall. Let me tell you that.
You're a star on our wall.
All right, there you go.
We love you, man.
Yeah. Eric the Tech, thank you so much. RT, thank you. And in terms of Thursday, it depends on how you feel and whatever. I have no clue what we're going to do tomorrow night. So, hey, we're just play it by ear. Thanks. And join us tomorrow night. God bless you. God bless everyone. Have a great night.
That's funny.
Yeah, man.